What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin Cash today. Shout out to the Dragon Riders in the House of the Dragon. It is the 17th day of March. Here we are at about $473. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here, and let's get into it, okay? We haven't really seen the reaction so far this week that I was hoping that we'd see. It's still a young week. There's still a lot of potential. But if Bitcoin's doing what I think it's going to do, which is probably pull back, it makes it a little bit harder for me to see Bitcoin Cash moving up. Um, Regardless of your stance on Bitcoin Cash or Bitcoin from a philosophical perspective, the reality is Bitcoin is the Mac Daddy. It's got the highest market cap by far. And most cryptos, Bitcoin Cash included, have a hard time moving up when Bitcoin itself is moving down. Okay, that doesn't mean that if Bitcoin's moving down the way that I think it will, it doesn't mean that Bitcoin Cash is going to see a lower low. It could mean that, but I'm more just going on the thought of we might pull back a little bit. We're probably not going to be breaking out higher right now. This move up that we were expecting this week to happen is potentially delayed. There's still a lot of time left in the month. I think that we will recover. I think that there's positive things to go over, so let's go over that right now. Okay, 1 hour time frame here. Well, I guess maybe we're going to go over some negative stuff first. 1 hour time frame here. Looking at this, we were building decent volume, nothing really too crazy, just slowly building. Now we're coming down. It almost looks like on the 1 hour this could be a bear flag in itself, a very small bear flag. So we might then expect to see prices around 466, 460 itself, somewhere in here. Get a higher low in this kind of trend that we've been respecting for a little while. Makes sense to me. 1 hour time frame, looking at this, overbought zone coming down to the 40. Find support around here. We've been finding support around here actually a lot. We're rejecting the 50. I don't know. It's not the most bullish look right here, but I mean overall, for what this is, actually, it wouldn't be too surprising if we did continue to move up. With that being said, this could be like a false flag in itself. We are finding support at prior resistance. That would be great. That would either then mean that Bitcoin Cash moves up while Bitcoin moves down, or maybe Bitcoin's going to move up as well, and Bitcoin Cash will move up too. Well, one of those two. The stochastics are looking reset, looking like they want to come up from here on the 1 hour. The MACD is actually right at a point too. So I mean, it's really by the way of the indicators and even by the way of the price action, it might be more acceptable to expect higher prices. That doesn't necessarily mean a higher high than this, but maybe by the time you guys watch this, we move up a few bucks. That could be. It's very possible. Oh, Bitcoin's moving up right now. Moving up a little bit. I shouldn't say it's moving up, but it's moving up a little bit right now. The stock market opens in 1 hour though, right? Right? Doesn't it? Isn't it next hour? Is it the 14th hour or the 15th hour? I'm pretty sure it's the 14th hour. Anyways. Bitcoin Cash might move up a little bit. If we don't, man, if we do break through this right now, we are breaking through a lot of very consistent things that have held us for support for the past like week now. So that definitely would be bearish. It'll be bullish if Bitcoin Cash gets above $483. But until then, we're just kind of in this limbo state where we're waiting to see what happens next. My thought is wherever we move up from here, however grand, however small, it'll be a lower high overall, and we will move lower, probably. 4 hour time frame. I haven't sold any Bitcoin Cash. Okay, whenever I say things like this, people think, so are you selling whatever? No, I'm not selling. I haven't sold anything. I don't plan on selling any Bitcoin Cash. Every bit of Bitcoin Cash that I have is in it to win it for the long term. Okay, I think that's the best strategy, especially for this thing here. We are, I mean, at this point in time, again, finding support at prior resistance. This isn't a bad thing. The only thing I have an issue with is we were expecting that once we got above this point here, that we would get a breakout, and we just really didn't get that. There was no volume to follow through. In fact, the highest spike in volume we saw was at the top selling off. That's not necessarily encouraging. If this were to be a fake out, I mean, it's certainly putting on the right performance so far for that, but we just haven't yet faked out. If this is a fake out, likely we will break this uptrend here. We likely would break this uptrend, and if we do, let's actually take a fib overall from the low to the high. Yeah, Probably something like that, down to the golden ratio, $450, $447. We can see something that low or even lower. I'm not from here. If this is a fake out and we go lower, I'm not necessarily calling for lower lows, but it might be something that becomes an option as well. Okay, so just things to think about. Even if Bitcoin Cash goes below these lows, I'm not worried about it. Okay, it doesn't have to be a quick process up. It wasn't a quick process down. You know, we took our time moving down. Well, once we did break out, it was a pretty quick process, to be fair. Um, anyways, 4 hour RSI, getting overbought, not getting oversold. Overall, you've got these higher lows still maintained. I mean, it looks good, man. It looks good, but again, you are kind of right at a pinnacle moment where you've been consistently finding support in these areas. If you don't find support here, if you don't hold support here, and we do go today or even tomorrow below like $470, we're breaking out of some structure there, and that really could cause for an overall larger retracement down maybe like 440, that 460 area, which we're at 474. That's really not that dramatic anyways. Stochastics technically have a bearish stance right now, but overall they also have this higher low kind of dynamic going in, so we could bounce off the 50, look for that. We can afford to go a little bit lower from here, but too much of a shift down would definitely break some bullish structure that we formed. And again, that's not terrible, it's just what it is. We are starting to cross red. The last two crosses we had were false crosses. Now, you might hear that and be like, okay, so this is going to be a false cross. False crosses aren't the most common thing. This was not a false cross. This was not a false cross. This was not a false. None of these were false crosses, right? At all. In fact, the only false crosses we've had happen to be these two, and we had two in a row. I don't think that this one has a high likelihood of being a false cross. I think it might be a real cross, and in which we will see a little bit more of a consistent drawback. You know, maybe back down to the zero, we find support, maybe something more serious. But I think that this MACD might be a little bit telling in the directional heading we go. That gives me a little bit of confidence here that this trend won't hold, this trend won't hold, and we probably do pull back. Daily time frame. I mean, overall, we like this structure, right? This is not a problem, but we can still come back down and it's not a problem, right? We can even go lower and it's not a problem. We still have that structure overall. So time will tell. The expectation as of now, we're at $474. I would think that we don't move below 432. If we do, we're probably going to be okay. Okay, but I don't think that we do that. I think that in this context, from this low to this low here, we will form a higher low. The question is, will it be at 440? Will it be at 460? Probably either of those targets or somewhere in between. And I would think that we see that resolve itself either by the end of this week or sometime early next week. And then going into the end of the month, hopefully we see a little bit of recovery, and then we can get our freak on and make this move up above $500 like we originally forecasted. 500 to 550. I really like this 540 area personally. And absolutely we can go higher. We're being conservative here, or maybe even like quote unquote realistic, right? Lower highs, it kind of, you know, with this dynamic, kind of right there, that makes sense, bullseye, right? But if we break through that zone, absolutely we could see some rapid recovery. We break through that zone, we break through this trend, this Adam and Eve W shape. I mean, we could really take off and just send it up to $700. Like it could be the end of this month, the very final days of this month, that we're pressing $700 already. So that's not what I'm calling for. What I'm calling for by the end of the month is somewhere between 500 and 550 with a specific emphasis on 540. But anything can happen. I got nothing else. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.